void in their schedule, if you will. They didn't have a great kid show at the time. So we pitched, if you'll pardon the expression, a kid show to Sid Bibby. He thought it was a good idea, but he didn't seem to be 100% sold. We thought it's a horror show. Who would be the best star we could bring in, big name star? There were only 3 major stars in the horror genre, and there was Bela Lugosi and Vincent Price.
So welcome where the sun won't shine, to the castle of Don't Frighten
He was a wonderful, warm human being. He was such a nice man.
For now, we are going to sing our national anthem. But this time, no, we can't. He's not here. Oh.
He was the show. Billy was the backbone of the hilarious House of Frightenstein. He was the most talented performer I have ever worked with. There was nothing that we asked him to do that he didn't say, sure, I can do that. And then he would expand on the part, and he grew it, ad-libbed at least half of what we gave him to do, albeit it was all written for him. He would just get the idea, oh, I see what you want, and then he would just fly with it.
Oh, do you believe in miracles? But that isn't what.
The big surprise was not its popularity. What shocked us, the legs, the fact that it was able to stay on the air for 40 plus years. It ended up being the longest running kids TV show in Canadian history.
When next we meet in Frankenstone, don't come alone.
When we come back, a first in North America as CHCH expands on its strengths and raises the bar.
Well, it's February 11th, soon to be the 12th. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dan McLean, and this is TV 11 Newsroom, late edition.
We had a half hour at 6 and a half hour at 11, and that was it. We were shooting film and recording our voiceovers on cassettes, cartridges.
Connie Smith, TV 11 News in Dundas.
There were 2 female reporters, no female camera operators or anything else. It was a smoky newsroom because everyone smoked except 2 women. And we had a new secretary at that time who poured us coffee.
The biggest change when I started, everybody smoked at their desk. You know, there's these giant ashtrays on the desk. That stopped a few years after I was there, but it was odd that, you know, you think back to it now, there's no way that would ever happen.
There will be no more substandard fallout shelters built in Hamilton. Council's Property and License Committee has approved a bylaw aimed at licensing contractors who specialize in fallout shelters.
I remember watching our news because we worked different shifts, writing the 11 o'clock news or the 6 or doing stories, and thinking, oh, will it ever change? Will we ever do more than a half hour at 6 and a half hour at 11?
Now we are going like from 4 in the morning until 7 o'clock at night with news, and it's just the resources. It's the technology has really helped as well, because when I started in the station, we didn't have even the capabilities really of a reporter going out to a scene live. I remember when we first got our live trucks and everybody was all nervous. It's like, you know, we'd have hours to put together our packages. Now you've got to do something live on the spot. And it was a real learning curve for a lot of us. And when I started here, we didn't have computers even.
Canada's national broadcaster is expected to announce layoffs and other cost-cutting actions on Thursday. That's when meetings are being held with all CBC employees.
Microwave technology, cellular technology has come a long way, where we have cellular-based cameras out there for our remote location broadcasts, and the microwave technology has improved so much because our morning show, I mean, we're everywhere. We, whether we're at a store or we're at some news event or wherever things are happening, we've got to be out there simultaneously in different locations. So these leaps forward in technology has been a huge boon, not to CHCH, of course, but particularly for Morning Live and all the things we're tasked with.
In the 10 years that I've been here, a couple of really major news stories come into mind, and the first has to be the situation in Caledonia, the land claim at the Douglas Creek Estates. I was up there for much of those months there. We were up there sort of sub-anchoring newscasts from there, reporting, staying up there, anchoring our newscasts live out there.
We've been trying to reach the local hydro to find out exactly when that power is going to be coming back on.
And watching the situation unfold.
We begin tonight with new developments on the disappearance of Tim Bosma.
Well, I know from talking to Charlene how significant she thinks CHCH was and the local media, but CHCH in particular in covering that story. I mean, first of all, it's an abduction, then it turns into a murder, then it turned into a very horrific sounding murder in terms of at least the way Tim's remains were dealt with.
I've been covering Niagara since 1985. And the Paul Bernardo, Carla Homolka murder case has to be the worst story and the most compelling story that I've ever done.
It was Thursday, the 16th of April, at 2:45 p.m., when she left Holy Cross School and headed home.
We did a show called The Disappearance of Kristen French. It was a 90-minute show that we produced in conjunction with the Green Ribbon Task Force at the time. And we had FBI profilers in on the show as well. We had examples of the kind of car that the police were looking for. It was a first of its kind as well, and it resulted in some new information coming to the Green Ribbon Task Force.
I think we really developed a bond with Doug and Donna after we had done that abduction of Kristen French special. That was done months after Kristen was murdered and before Bernardo and Homolka were identified and arrested. And I think Donna and Doug trusted us. They liked the way we presented Kristen. And they say now, they even tell me now, that we're the only ones that they talk to because they trust us to present Kristen in the way that she was.
The one thing that we know has consistently worked well on CHCH is local programming, news programming. You know, there was a time when people would always try to program a station with foreign content, American content, and what eventually transpired is that we realized what really works is local programming, it's news, let's do more of it. We are now watched by about 2.5 million people every week. They watch our news programming. So again, we knew going into it that that's what struck the chord with the viewers, news, and so we decided to do more of it.
You can expect the price to jump up by another penny. Back to you.
All right, more pain at the pumps, it seems. Thank you, Melissa.
The transition was quick. It was almost like flipping a switch to go from what we were doing in the past to doing news all day. We had about 1 week where we had news programming in the morning that we were doing that we had just added between 9 and noon. And then the following week we added the afternoon news programming. So we did it in rapid, quick order. We did hire a lot more people, but the resources, the actual news gathering resources, we're an independent station. We didn't have a network that we were affiliated with. So we were doing all of this kind of on our own. It was an exciting adventure. It was a roller coaster ride. It was a bit scary at times. In the end, everybody pulled together. And that's what I think really proves the success of what we're doing, is that everybody in this station was determined that this station was going to survive.
We want to encourage people to come down and see all that Niagara offers.
We knew that we make a connection with the community in a big way. And so everybody was pulling together to make sure that this new, untried, unproven type of programming worked. And it's a credit to the people at this station that it has. And right now we do more than 80 hours a week, and that's more than any other conventional over-the-air station in North America.
When we come back, from community rinks to Maple Leaf Gardens, CHCH plays a key role in the lives of athletes, young and old.
The Sporting Channel all year round. Your favorite channel for sports, Channel 11.
Now, another exclusive TV 11 sports presentation.
CHCH had games in the 70s. I'm thinking around the mid-70s. I don't know for how many years, but boy, those years were controversial. Harold Ballard was always blustering.
Well, it's too late, and I've been screwed around long enough by those guys, and it's not going to happen any longer. The stuff is out of Hamilton now, and it's resting in Maple Leaf Gardens.
Dick Beddoes was egging him on.
Has anybody anywhere in Hamilton tried to buy the club from you?
No, I haven't had. I'm not going to sell the club.
Daryl Sittler, Lanny McDonald, Boreas Salming, those classic games against Montreal. And you could only get 2 games a week, the Saturday game on CBC, Hockey Night in Canada, and the midweek game, usually a Wednesday, on CHCH. It was a big, big deal. They drew huge numbers. You knew Wednesday nights, you made no plans whatsoever. You were home and you were watching the Leafs. It was a big event.
As this fall, NHL midweek hockey joins the CHCH-TV system.
The first Wednesday night hockey started with CFTO in Toronto. And there were a lot of stories why it happened, but Harold Ballard, the owner of the Leafs, hated John Bassett. And there was a big falling out, and my boss knew Sid Bibby in Hamilton. And Harold was very close. Harold Ballard was very close to Sid Bibby. They were buddies. So Harold said, why don't we put it on Hamilton? The next thing I knew, I was taken over to the station, the old house, and they showed me the mobile that they did junior hockey with. I said, that won't do. They bought a mobile on the spot. It was the best, new, and I approved it. They had the best mobile in Canada. And the Toronto press was shocked that Hamilton, who showed movies and sitcoms, were going into the big sports business. The thing that attracted me to their technicians and everything, they've been doing junior hockey for years. They bust right out of the gate the first game. I talked to some CBC people, said they're maybe better than we are.
Barry Martin down the left side, looking to the middle. Sittler scores!
Don Cherry was really getting hot, and he wanted to have, his dream was to have his own bars. And I said, why don't I create a show around a bar? And he named the show The Grapevine.
Let's go! Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Mr. Don Cherry.
We were in the old studio. We were the first show in the brand new building, and then we went to the bars. Everybody wanted to come on because it was showing all over, syndicated, and every hockey player would love to come on. All we'd give them was $500. You'd never be able to do it now.
Tell us about that overtime goal against St. Louis. What happened there?
Oh, I don't remember that well, Don, but I...
You want me to tell it?
I have to tell you a funny story. We had on John Wernick, you know, the curler, and everybody said he was a good talker and everything. So we had, you know, you got to go 20 minutes, 15 minutes. So every time I asked him a question, he'd say, yep, nope, yep. And I'm trying to think up stories, yep, nope. And Tommy held up a sign, only 15 more minutes to go.
So what do you think of it, fighting the game? They want to get it out. What's going on here?
I think it's great to have it. I agree with having it.
I remember one time we had Eric Lindros on, and I'd caught poison ivy. And I had it, and my eyes were all swollen. So I had sunglasses on, you know, acting cool. When I look at it, I still get paid, think of that. Stevie Eiserman was on, Stevie Wonder was on, and the roof was leaking. We had to keep going. The water was dripping down on Stevie. We had Cliff Thorburn, remember the snooker player? And I had a jacket like this on, and he had a tuxedo. And I said, well, tell me the difference between pool and billiards. And he said, well, Don, let's put it this way. This is billiards, and what you're wearing is pool.
I want to get to the 72 series right off the bat.
We were told by scouts, what's his name, Trechak, couldn't stop a balloon. But what they forgot to tell us was the day they scouted him was the night after his wedding.
Oh. Well, that does take something out of your life.
Good, yeah.
And with the grapevine, that's where I learned that I could talk, and I didn't have to have somebody ask me a question. So it was the grapevine that turned me into what I am. I don't know whether that's good or bad, but it was the grapevine that did it, and I'm so proud that I was part of it.